What's up guys, Ivory from Brucko. Plenty of NBA GMs got severely criticized for the dumbest trades, and I mean some really bad trades, over the years, but the last 5 years have seen some particularly bad deals. Now in this video, I'm going to break down the 5 worst NBA trades over the last 5 years. But before we begin, it will really mean a lot to me if you took a quick second and smash that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It seriously helps us out a lot, and thank you. Now back to the video. Number 5 on the list, Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. Now this was a 5-team blockbuster that include the Washington Wizards, the Lakers, the Brooklyn Nets, Pacers, and the Spurs. Now I'm just going to be focusing on what the Lakers gave and what they received. 10 months after winning an NBA title with KCP and Kyle Kuzma in the rotation, the Lakers sent them to Washington as part of the 5-team trade that gave them Russell Westbrook. To be honest, this deal, it was dead from the start, and for good reason. The Lakers had already won a championship by surrounding LeBron James and Anthony Davis with grit, shooting, and players who understood their role. I mean, anyone should have been able to see that LeBron James and Russell Westbrook were not a good fit. Both Russ and LeBron had spent their entire careers with the ball in their hands, and neither was a consistent enough shooter to make sense as the off-ball guy. And the results were predictably bad. In the season, the Lakers were -3 points per 100 possessions with Russ on the floor and +2 without him. At the same time, Kyle Kuzma averaged 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists in his 2 seasons with the Wizards. He just signed a multi-year extension with the Wizards and almost 7 years younger than Westbrook, who isn't even on the Lakers anymore. KCP's 3-and-D style of play helped the 2020 Lakers win a championship. And he did the same thing with the Denver Nuggets this past season. After making the Western Conference Finals last year, the Lakers look like they are back on track, but this trade forced an unnecessary and painful couple of years for Lakers fans. Number 4, Nikola Vucevic to the Chicago Bulls. Nikola Vucevic is still good, and the Bulls just signed him to a 3-year, $60 million extension, which ain't too bad. But Chicago fans, they can't be thrilled about the players that they gave up in this deal. What really make the deal stink so much is the fact that one of the picks that Chicago surrendered turned into Franz Wagner. Now he almost certainly make more All-Star appearances than Vucevic going forward, as he turns only 22 years old this year and is coming off his 2nd season where he put up 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. The Bulls, meanwhile, made a win-now move that has done little more than lock them into mediocrity. During his time in Chicago, they're -1.7 points per 100 possessions with Vucevic on the floor and +4 without him. Number 3, the Ben Simmons, James Harden nightmare. The Brooklyn Nets and the 76ers, they somehow both lost in this trade. After an ugly playoff exit at the hands of the Atlanta Hawks, the series in which Ben Simmons had 3 fourth-quarter field goal attempts over the entire 7-game series. In a nasty holdout to start the 2021-2022 season, the 76ers traded Ben Simmons to the Nets for your boy James Harden. The downsides of this trade are pretty obvious for both teams. Ben Simmons, he never returned to the floor in the 21-22 season, and he only played 42 games last season. He looked like a shell of his 3-time All-Star self when he came back, and he only averaged 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. And the 76ers didn't do any better. They gave up 2 first-round picks for a player who hasn't gotten them any closer to a title and is already demanding his way out and publicly calling out President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey a liar after just a year and a half with the team. This most recent news is even worse. Even with the 76ers ending trade talks on James Harden, he still has no plans on playing for Philly, and his stance remains unchanged. If 2 second-round exits is all James Harden delivers to the 76ers, their fans are going to be disappointed, especially if the Sacramento Kings were even open to moving Tyrese Halliburton for Ben Simmons. But right now, for the Sixers, it ain't looking too good. Number 2, Russell Westbrook to the Houston Rockets. Both Russell Westbrook and James Harden are on this list twice. I know, pretty rough. Yeah, Westbrook and Harden had some success with each other on the OKC Thunder, but Harden was an entirely different player at that point. His usage percentage in OKC was 20%. It was 40% in the season before Westbrook came to the Rockets and 35% over the 5 years leading up to that. The idea that one or both might be able to sacrifice enough to win a championship seems almost ridiculous looking back at it. Although then head coach Mike D'Antoni eventually pulled a rabbit out of the hat by basically playing Westbrook as a point center, this Houston team, they never felt like a threat to the true contenders like the Golden State Warriors. When you add the fact that the Rockets was the team that gave up multiple first-round picks for this deal, it starts to look like a full-blown nightmare. Number one by far, Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves. This trade is kind of still of a head-scratcher though. The Timberwolves look pretty solid with Gobert roaming the paint at times last season, and reigning champion Bruce Brown said that Minnesota was the Denver Nuggets' toughest playoff opponent in the 2023 playoffs. But Rudy Gobert, he's 31 years old and he has $47 million player option for the 25-26 NBA season. But catch this, opponents has also outscored the T-Wolves when he was on the floor in the 2022-2023 season. All of that is tough to think about when you look at the massive trade package they got for him. The Minnesota Timberwolves traded Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Leandro Baltimore, Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt, a 2023 first-round draft pick, a 2025 first-round draft pick, a 2026 first-round draft pick, and a 2027 first-round draft pick, and a 2029 first-round draft pick to the Utah Jazz for Rudy Gobert. Beasley, Beverly, and Vanderbilt could all be in the playoff rotations next season. The crazy part about it, who knows what all these picks could turn into. There's technically still time for Minnesota to turn this trade around, but they will be facing an uphill climb after doing so. As Rudy Gobert ages out of his prime and moves deeper into an era that prioritizes bigs with skills, which he doesn't really have, like shooting and playmaking, the details on this trade almost demands that he makes the Timberwolves a title contender. Yeah, but that feels like it's not going to happen. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and smash that like button. That's all, folks. Until next time.